Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Sam.
And I'm Melissa.
I grew up in the FLDS community. It is a polygamous group run by Warren Jeffs, which I moved out of when I was 18 years old.
I was raised LDS. Sam and I have been married for 8 years and have 2 beautiful babies.
Yes, we do. And today we are back with some more information about what's going on in the FLDS religions, specifically what's going on with Warren Jeffs and other people that are coming out, I guess, sharing his sermons and that type of thing as well.
Yes, we want to do a huge shout out and thank you to someone who recently left within the last few months that had the actual, like all of these sermons that have been coming out this past year. They've been sending those out to all the members like in Manila envelopes, and they've been sending them to everybody's address. And this person shared with us that they had those and wanted to know if we wanted them ourselves. And of course we said yes, that we would love to be able to see them and read them for ourselves rather than getting like news clippings or like somebody had sent us pictures from an Instagram account that had some things. So we have the revelation straight from the source, straight from Warren Jeffs' leadership as to the revelations that he has been receiving and sharing.
It's pretty remarkable. I'll leave the name of this person out of it for privacy reasons, but this person that sent us these just so recently left declared that they no longer would continue to follow Warren Jeffs and his teachings and that. So these are very, like, exactly what all the members out there were receiving. This is exactly from a direct source. So it's very unique to have this sent to us, and we're in reading through some of these, it's concerning and scary in some cases, but at the same time, we're very grateful to have these so that we can share them and hopefully spread some awareness.
Yeah. I was thinking the other day, we just kind of want to touch real quick on our intentions in sharing these, right? Because the intention is not to spread the word of Warren Jeffs by any means, right? But we really want to make sure that the people who have either just left that community, that they're hearing some of the things that are raised for concern, and that they are kind of understanding that they're not alone, right? Because we've seen a lot of people in our YouTube community share, those things are things that I heard growing up in the LDS, or those are things that people can relate to that were the same type of things that leadership in different churches also shared or spoke like, or different tactics that were used, or different things like that. And so just letting them know, like, you guys aren't alone. It is much more common than I think people realize. And so we really just want to spread awareness also that this community, a lot of times people look at the FLDS like, how could they follow that? How could they believe it? But when we share these clippings, or, they may be called revelations to the FLDS, LDS people totally understand what a revelation is. For those of you who aren't as familiar, they believe that they're just receiving word from God. So,
Yeah. No, that's exactly what they believe. They believe all of these things in these revelations are directly from God. And I know that, like Melissa says, I know there are a lot of religions out there where people claim to be speaking for God. We're not going to sit down and just read through these sermons or anything like that. I think that would just be sharing the sermons, and that's not what we want to do. We want to bring out some of the topics that are talked about in these sermons and share what our feelings are about those and why we think that they are concerning.
Yes, and we're definitely going to be doing a lot of videos on this. There's no way to even put all of these things into one. So the main topic that we want to talk about today was talking about Warren Jeffs escaping prison.
Yep.
One more thing before we get started, just so everybody knows, these revelations are all being recorded and passed out by his son, Helaman Jeffs. And I know we had lightly touched on that in another video, that Helaman is speaking for Warren. It's hard to know. He says he heard these from his father, and so he is just the messenger.
So,
but
you're right, and it's interesting because from what we've been told, Warren's daughter is the only one that's allowed to actually see him in prison. So, but at the same time, we've also heard that Warren is allowed to make phone calls and be able to talk with people. So it's hard to know if Helaman is just actually listening to Warren say these things over the phone and writing them down and then sharing the sermon, or if it's his daughter going and visiting him in prison and then coming back and relaying the message to Helaman, and then he writes it down. It's hard to know exactly how he's getting this. Or another theory, which I would be willing to agree with, is a lot of this stuff is now being made up by Helaman, and he's claiming that it's all coming from Warren Jeffs, but it's more to fit his own agenda. Because how easy would it be to throw in your own little tidbits and things and kind of get things going your way when you can claim that everything you're saying is coming directly from Warren, and then the people will believe you. If the people trust you, you can start putting your own information in there and just claim that it comes from Warren Jeffs, and they'll follow it.
And we saw similar things happen with Rulon Jeffs, right? So Warren, one of the reasons why he did become next in line and did become prophet was it wasn't like he was the eldest son or in a high position of power. It's when his father started getting sick, then he started speaking for his father, so that it was an easy transition for when his father passed away.
Right.
And so we also are seeing similar patterns that now Helaman is talking or relaying the message for his father, Warren. And well, we'll get into the sketchiness behind what might happen to Warren Jeffs. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, he is serving multiple life sentences. He will never be released from prison as far as from the court system, okay? From the government. That is not going to happen. He will die in prison. And he hasn't even been released into Gen Pop that I know of. When we talked to Shem Fisher last year, one of the men who helped put Warren away, he said that there was a couple more cases against Warren, and then he was going to be released into Gen Pop, and they don't expect him to last very long without being killed in Gen Pop.
So here come the theories now.
Here come the theories. Let's read the bit of the Revelation first, and then we'll share some ideas of what might be actually going on. And this was on Tuesday, June 7th, 2022. Okay, so this has been a couple months now, since then, right? Like what, 7 months? And Warren Jeffs will go free, saith Jesus Christ, and pray that you can be worthy to know where he is, because only faithful saints of Jesus Christ will know his whereabouts, his location, and his doing, as I will protect him when he comes out of prison from all harms. And only those who are faithful will be allowed to know where he is and what he is doing on earth. Amen.
So just to point out really quickly, first of all, this sounds like that Helaman is writing this. He's not relaying a direct message from Warren Jeffs. He's writing this. He's saying Warren Jeffs is going to do this, and only you who are faithful know where he is. So unless Warren always talks in third person, which I never experienced that, Helaman is writing this information down. So just right off the bat, that's something to point out. Secondly, he's not saying maybe. He's saying Warren will be released. And of course, when they say that, they're referring to the fact that God will make that happen. He is going to break him out of prison and he will escape.
Which it says in about 5 more verses after that. Sorry to interrupt you, but it does say down the page a little bit, rejoice in God above all. I have preserved his life, meaning Warren's, clean, perfect, loyal, true order. Know that Warren Steed Jeffs continues as mortal keyholder, soon ready to be in a marvelous way, miraculously brought out of prison. And his location will only be known by faithful peoples on earth who keep their holy Melchizedek priesthood ordinance covenants, living in joyful, inspired, perfect obedience, studying the Word of God daily, and keeping all Holy United Order covenants as listed on the Holy United Order covenant sheet, and daily reading the books listed. And then it gives a list of the books that people should be reading in order to be worthy.
Which is just a list of scriptures and books that they have, like the FLDS prophets had written, primarily sermons that Warren Jeffs himself has given and things like that.
Yeah.
So nothing that we really want to leave a list on here in case you were curious what it was about.
No, but it is interesting. You know, obviously they've said for a long time. I mean, from the time that he was put in prison, what did they tell you about how he was going to be released?
So I was still living in the FLDS community when Warren was imprisoned, when they caught him and sentenced him into prison for life and then several lives after that. And they have been saying since that very moment that God was going to release him from prison, that he was going to break him out from that very moment. And this was how many? 16 years ago?
A long time.
It's a long time.
It's been a long time.
And then the longer it takes, for him to get released, they have then been blaming it on the fact that the members of the church weren't praying hard enough. They weren't faithful enough. They weren't being obedient enough, things like that. And that as soon as they get to that point where they are righteous enough, that he would be released, that it was just all on them. And the reason for the big, long waiting period was because we weren't prepared.
Which this revelation is taking a whole different approach to it, right? Every time.
So now it's changing, yeah.
Now it's changing, which is another reason why it feels a little bit like Helaman might be behind it, because instead of this idea of before the previous revelations that we had read from Warren Jeffs were, please be worthy of my release. Please do better so I can be released. Please do this. Please do that. Please do this. Mm-hmm. And now instead of the whole like putting it on the people as much, it's just, this is going to happen, but only the worthy are going to know where he is.
Exactly.
So it has changed tunes a little bit.
So now exactly. And that's where we want to touch on that, is that Helaman is saying it's happening now. It's going to happen. But like you say, only a very small amount of people are going to know about this. Okay. Here's some theories. Helaman is aware that Warren is going to be put in a gen pop soon. And from other people we've talked to that know the situation, they don't think he's going to last long at all once that happens. I think Helaman is preparing for that moment when Warren Jeffs is no longer around. And instead of saying, and when the public comes out and says Warren Jeffs is no longer alive, Helaman is going to take that opportunity and say, of course, the Gentile people are going to say that because they don't want
to admit the miraculous thing that happened.
That Jesus Christ himself came and broke him out of prison, and now only me and a few select people know where he actually is. And then, of course, he is going to invite some of the people from the town to go to where Warren Jeffs is. And the people that are still in the town are going to be like, oh, and I experienced this myself, very similar type things. They're going to say, oh, people are leaving and people are going to where Warren Jeffs is. Obviously, it's true. Helaman's going to take these people to wherever he chooses to take them, and they're going to see him with their spiritual eyes. And then, of course, there's going to be lots of praying, lots of reading, lots of things where they're going to try to help them feel the so-called spirit or the feelings they had felt their entire lives within the church to confirm that, oh, this is true. And trust me, that type of thing is very powerful, and you can convince someone that it's actually happening and that they're actually seeing things that aren't there if you believe that person is talking for God. And then who knows what will happen at that point. Maybe some people will go back and be told to never talk about the experience they had and things like that. This is exactly what was happening when I was living in Colorado City, Hilldale City area, and people were going to Texas. People were going to Colorado and other places where they were supposedly building up the kingdom of God or building up Zion. They would disappear. And we were like, oh, wow, I'm just not righteous enough to be there and experience this. But obviously it's true because these people are going somewhere. And then when they would come back, they were told to never talk about it. So it was for us that were never involved in it. It seemed very, very real.
Yeah. I mean, obviously this is all speculation and like just theories that we have. I also am curious, and I mean, it would be a huge deal to try to actually have a prison break, right? Them actually break Warren Jeffs
especially
out.
For someone like him, where he's so heavily guarded.
But I mean, that could also like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like if they actually could. And as a matter of fact, in just a few paragraphs later, they had talked about, about needing the tithing for when Warren Jeffs is released. Now, for anybody who watched Keep Sweet, Pray, and Obey, we all know what Warren Jeffs was doing with tithing money when he was on run the first time. But it does say here, many people have desired to know where to send their tithing. Thus, I, God, direct that Warren Steed Jeffs will receive those tithings personally when he goeth free. Keep your tithing monies until you learn by authority where you can safely send those monies to be made record of in the tithing consecration record for Holy United Order Saints of Jesus Christ, and consecrations that restore all people's desire to donate to the church to prove love, loyalty to Jesus Christ in desiring to be members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints on earth. So there is the possibility as well, if they could figure out a way to get him out, then they are saying, be ready with your tithing money, because when he is released, we are going to need money.
And of course, that's when he's going to call, Helaman is going to call on everyone to send the money to this place where supposedly Warren Jeffs will be. Mm-hmm. And then who knows what will be done with that money.
And they even said, like, and in case anyone's like, why are they saying to, like, make sure you wait until the proper authority? It's because multiple people have come and taken advantage of these poor people. There's been, is it 2 now?
I know of one very big event that happened.
Where after Warren Jeffs was put in prison, a man would come to the community, a man in the community came and said, I'm supposed to gather up all the tithing money for Warren Jeffs. Mm-hmm. And I've heard it was between $2 and $3 million from good sources. $2 to $3 million worth of tithing money was gathered. And then he just left with everybody's money.
And that was the end of it.
And that was the end of it.
I don't know that anyone there ever saw him again. He's just disappeared with
and
all
I want to
all
say
of their
someone
money.
said it was twice, that another man did it as well. I don't know if it was the same dollar amount, but that's why they're so particular about it's going to be for Warren Jeffs. Make sure you hear from proper authority. Again,
Which
that
in
could
this
be
case
Helaman.
would be
Helaman.
Or people he is assigned.
Yeah. And that the fact that they say that Warren Jeffs is going to need their tithing money when he is released. Also, again, miraculously released, right? So they already know that if he's released and it's not like a hoax because he's dead,
mm-hmm.
I really think it's going to be trying to, like, they know that it's going to be running from the law. Like, it would be them breaking him out and saying that God broke him out.
Right.
Those are like the two
options.
The 2 options. So,
which I don't see happening. And honestly, I don't personally, after everything that I've heard and everything that has been said about Warren Jeffs' state right now, I don't think that he's in any kind of condition to be trying to run from the law. I mean, even his mental capacity doesn't seem to be all there at this point from the sources we have heard about what's going on.
Yeah.
So I highly doubt they're going to try to break him out, but who am I to say? Who knows? Interestingly, they're in the sermon somewhere. Didn't Helaman give like a date
that is for the city of Zion to be built?
But I wonder if that's going to tie in with when when Warren Jeffs will be freed or something.
Yes, we'll do another video on that about.
I wonder if that's hand in hand.
The city of Zion being built and the time frame, because I mean the FLDS have given time frames multiple times and they haven't worked out, and so I was very surprised to read that there was a timeline for something.
Yep.
But we will save that for another video very soon. But we just kind of wanted to let people know and be aware that this is something that's being talked about. That Warren Jeffs is going to be miraculously set free, and just make sure that. Those of you who are thinking about leaving or are wondering if you made the right choice in leaving, please feel free to reach out to us. You can email us. Please just email us. You can go to Holding Out Help, and they are a great organization to find resources and be able to help you get on your feet.
In our description.
And we'll leave that in the description as well.
Because reaching out to them, whether through donations or finding out other ways to help out. I know that there are sometimes when a young person leaves, they are in need of somewhere to stay temporarily and things like that. So thank you all for all of your support. And just for anyone out there listening, we do this because we want to help people. And so when we receive an email from someone that is leaving or someone that has concerns about something, we love to talk to those people. So just remember, please continue to reach out. We really do enjoy helping wherever we can. And we really appreciate, we've had a lot of followers also reach out to us saying if people who have recently left need somewhere to go for Thanksgiving, or they need somewhere to stay, or we can help in any way. We're so grateful that our viewers are so willing to help as well. And we will try to coordinate as best we can with anybody that we know that needs help. So we appreciate you all, and we will keep you more and more informed on these revelations so that we can create awareness and help these communities. Yep. So we will continue this on in later videos, more information about this. But thank you all for being here, and we'll talk to you soon. Talk to you soon.